How's everybody doing out there today? Oh, let's see here. Get this thing started. All right, we are live, I think. Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. So I was reading some articles today on freight waves, blah blah blah, etc. And I found some things that are just make you shake your head. Uh, the people that represent us don't know a thing about what they're representing and regulating. The associations and agencies that want you to be a member so that they can represent you and act in your best interest don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it shakes you a little bit to think in a tough time like we're in. We're asking for, for people are asking for help or this or that, and you have people say we're going to fix these problems, and then you read what they're trying to do and it's just totally the wrong problem. Has nothing to do with what is going on. And I got three of them here today. I thought we'd talk a little bit about. Let's just see who we got in the chat right here. Check that out. We got brother Craig coming in. Thanks for coming in. TBT. Oh boy, I'm gonna have a hard time with this one. Golf profs. Thanks for coming in from Sweden. All the way from Sweden. Holy cow. Cash is king. Thanks for coming in. I sent you a link, buddy. If you want to come in, feel free to stop in. Corey Wettenhouse. Uh, brother Craig says best leadership money can buy. Yeah, isn't that right? With both feet says, did you win the tractor pull? We got rained on. We did. I did the parade. Nobody else knew anything about it, so I'm just like, hey, I just went and lined up. One guy jumped in line behind me, and we just drove around looking like fools, having a good old time. But we got about the last 5 minutes there. We got rained on pretty doggone hard, so we just parked it and I ran back under my tent, and then I saw everybody that was weighing in for the tractor pulls. About half those people bugged out with their pickup trucks. So it's done raining here now, but that track is probably pretty muddy. Might go back in a little bit here and just see what's up. Trucking up in the house. Thanks for coming in. Uh boy, which Sweden has the highest gas prices in the world according to Gulf Profs here. 13 US dollars for 1 gallon. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How do you even, although your countries aren't as big over there. We're more of a transportation society over here. But even so, $13. I mean, but you guys, a lot of people don't even own cars over there. If I'm not mistaken, I could be totally wrong. I'm not all that well traveled. A little bit, done some traveling. How's everyone on a Saturday? Everyone doing good here. Grade 8. Thanks for coming in. Where do we want to start with these dumbass stories here? Well, how about this one? It's on freight. It was on Freight Waves the other day. Got my attention. Fmcsa revising guidance on freight brokers and agents. And I guarantee you, about half the truckers out here read this headline and like, yeah, finally we're going to regulate brokers, right? We're going to take care of these problems. They're finally going to address the issues. No, they're not. You know what this is all about? Yeah, they got a big picture here of a guy in a big old, that must be a Freightliner. Yeah, with a big sign on the side of his truck says "Stop abusive brokers." And then you tie that to the headline and like, oh, well, how about that? They listened to us. They're finally going to do something. Uh, but no, what this is about is trying to differentiate the difference. Now this is Washington, right? Trying to differentiate the difference between a broker and a dispatch service. And these are the people that regulate our industry. Don't know the difference between a broker and a dispatch service. They're trying to say that a dispatch service is a broker. Now, I think everybody listening here or watching, you know the difference between a broker and a dispatcher, right? Like a broker makes arrangements with shippers. They sell. They have contracts. A dispatcher just calls around the brokers and finds you loads. And but they're saying, since a dispatch service is able to operate with many different drivers or whatever, and have a relationship with many different ones, that makes them a broker. That has nothing to do with being a broker. So, and they're saying that there's some posing some questions here. What evaluation criteria should they use when determining if a business model or an entity meets the definition of a broker? Provide examples of operations that meet the definition of broker and do not meet the definition of broker. What role should the possession of money exchanged between shippers and motor carriers in a brokered transaction play in determining whether one is conducting a brokerage? Uh, if if the money exchanged is directly exchanged from a shipper to a carrier, there is no broker involved. They completely don't understand what in the hell they're talking about here. How would you define the term dispatch service? Is there a commonly accepted definition? What role do dispatch services play in the transportation industry? This is elementary stuff here, and these politicians are gonna spend millions of dollars on this, and I guarantee you they'll screw it up. Here you go. If a dispatch service represents more than one carrier, does this in and of itself make it a broker operating without authority? No, no, it does not. And I'm not sticking up for dispatch services here. I'm just like the truth is the truth. How how can they have such a basic lack of understanding of what they're trying to regulate? When should a dispatch service be considered a bona fide agent? Well, a bona fide agent is still not a broker. That has nothing to do with being a broker. What role do bona fide agents play in the transportation of freight? And it goes on and on. It goes on and on. Uh, a broker can be your agent. So what they're saying is since you go to a dispatch service and say, hey, go find me some loads, call these brokers, find me a loads. They're saying that this makes them a broker. That's not how a brokerage works. Unless you hire a broker as an agent to be your agent, and you can do that. It's not very common. Landstar does a little bit of that, broker agency. But you could go to a broker and say, act as my agent, and then they will go to shippers and find freight specifically for you. Other than that, when a broker goes to a customer to find freight, it is not specifically for you. It could be for any trucking company that meets the criteria that they want to do business with. There's no similarity whatsoever between a dispatcher and a broker. So how's it any different if you work for I don't know, let's pick on Swift today, right? And you're a driver and you have a dispatcher there. Though they dispatch you on freight, they have no freight relationship with the shipper. Neither does a paid dispatch service. It's idiocy. But anyway, they go on and on thinking that these things are going to solve any of our problems that we're having right now. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. And it fails to address any of the real problems. And we've talked about these in live streams in the past. There's no mention of some of these dispatch services being 10,000 miles away. Uh, uh, well, that's not as big a deal, but the brokerages it is. The brokerages it is. And the dispatch service is voluntary. You don't have to use one. I don't. Just don't understand how they can have such a lack of understanding of what they're trying to regulate. Let's see who else is in here. Jaywalk, afternoon from Utah. Thanks for coming in. Insult investor. Oh my gosh. Gulls, thank you. $20 super chat straight from Sweden. That'll be my first international super chat. How about that? Thanks for coming in. Yeah, TVT. You guys shocked the U.S. government doesn't know what they're talking about? No, it's just more of the same. It's no different than when you put a mayor from a marginal U.S. city in as transportation secretary or whatever position you want to put him in. DOT, anything DOT related. What do they know about that? I'd be shocked if they did know what they're talking about. Yeah, Absolutely. It's just it just goes to show everybody, not everybody. I shouldn't generalize like that. It's popular for you here to say somebody's got to do something about this. We need regulations. We don't. They're going to be the wrong ones, and we're going to be no better off. Probably we'll end up worse off for it, right? Half the time. So it's best if we handle our own things most times. What do we got here? Santaz says dispatch monkey with a computer, broker monkey with a checkbook. Oh man, there's good brokers out there. You just got to find them. You got to find them. There's a lot of good of them out there, but you're not going to find them. Here's how you're not going to find a good broker. Where the hell's my damn phone? Who took my cell phone? Well, here. This is my old cell phone. You're not going to find a good broker like this. Looking through an app here, clicking on a load. You're not going to find the good ones like that. You got to call. You got to talk to them. Build a rapport, build a relationship with them. That's how you're going to find the good ones. There's bad brokers. There's good brokers. There's bad trucking companies. There's good trucking companies. I'm dealing with some brokers right now that I've dealt with for years, and they haven't cut the rate for what I've been hauling it for versus last year at this time. It's the same. Now, granted, last year at this time, when things were, $5 a mile, whatever, $8 a mile on the short stuff, we were still hauling it for $4 a mile for them. But guess what? We're still doing it now. So I really appreciate that, and was trying to look forward to see that time coming, and it's been beneficial. AR says, when do you see the industry making a turn towards cheaper fuel and better rates? I'll be honest with you, the fuel thing's going to be a while. Somebody sent me something yesterday, an article. Oh, there's my phone. It was right in front of my doggone face. Don't have my glasses on. And the gist of it was some intricate ties between fuel and, obviously the electric vehicles they want and precious metals. I didn't complete reading this, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But their point was high fuel prices are probably here to stay no matter what, for from the gist of what I was reading, for at least a couple of years to come. So that's not good news. It's not good news. Better rates. Some things are going to have to change to get better rates. Capacity is high. We have a whole lot of trucks in the market now that weren't here 2-3 years ago. So sad to say, some are gonna fall off here, but either there has to be more demand or less supply for that to change. But time will sort that out. Trucking up. Did you see the Freight Waves article about the owner op seeking exemption of the hours of service so FMCSA opened it up for comments? I did. I didn't read that one yet. I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not a fan of the hours of service the way they are, but that's just enough. Okay, so let's talk about that. When we had hours of service legislation going on, you open it up for comment, and you talk to 10 different truck drivers, you're going to get 10 different answers. Well, why don't they do this to make it better? Why don't they do that to make it better? Well, by nature, anytime you make it better for one person, you're going to make it worse for the other. That one size fits all thing is so hard to deal with because this industry is so diverse. You can't satisfy everyone, and you might make it great for some, and then the other one you're making it impossible to do their job. So keep that in mind when we talk about what's this next one we're going to talk about. Well, let's talk about this one. FMCSA rejects second shot at $75,000 truck broker bond exemption. So what this is about, how many of you have heard of the SBTC, Small Business and Trucking Coalition? Chances are, if you have your own authority, you'd probably get emails from these people wanting you to join. They're basically in a roundabout way, another OOIDA or another NASTIC, but they're just about as incompetent. These organizations, you name them, we got one after another. There's always a new one somewhere. OOIDA, NASTIC, ATA, now SBTC. They claim to represent truckers, be the voice of truckers, and most times they're anything but. It's they want their money, and when it comes right down to it, hey, you're on your own. I gave up on OOIDA years ago. I didn't like their stance on a lot of things, ELDs, um, a lot of different things, and thought NASTIC would be better. Joined there, called several times for help on different issues, and most times they didn't know. One, didn't know anything about it, and number two, they're like, we're not really dealing with that. So the heck with them too. Now it's odd in a time like this that the SBTC would make a request like this. Remember, these people claim to represent the Small Business Trucking Coalition, so that would be mostly small owner operators, people with their own authority. They want an exemption for a certain segment of the broker um, space. They want exemption from the $75,000 bond requirement because they say that it's financially difficult, and it may create what do you call it? Financial barrier for smaller companies to start a brokerage. Now the bond is $75,000. That you don't put up $75,000. You put up a portion of that. My bond was $1,200. It depends on your credit. So if they're saying it's too big of a hurdle, they got bad credit. If you got to put up a $5,000 bond, it's because your credit's bad. Well, isn't that exactly what you should be kind of watching out for? Is people trying to do this with bad credit? There should be a little bit of barrier to entry. So the people that are wanting to represent you, this SBTC, can't think past the point of, we should have exemptions for a good number of these brokers to not have to have a $75,000 bond because it's too big of a financial hurdle. Well, how in the hell do you think they're going to pay their freight bills if you exempt them from a $75,000 bond? Because if they can't afford it, most likely they have bad credit. Most likely, if they have bad credit, they might have a little trouble. How are you going to gain credit from the factoring companies? And you're a higher risk of not paying your bills. And some of those bills you have to pay are stinking freight bills. How can you not complete that circle of thought if you're the SBTC? By asking for an exemption for this one group of people, you're totally working against a much larger segment of the people that you want to represent as small carriers, small business. It's a it's it's a complete lack of understanding of who you are trying to represent. You don't understand their problems. Especially, ironic that they're asking for that in a time like this, where we're starting to see broker non-payments and defaults. I mean, come on. It seems a little out of touch to me. But hey, that's one man's opinion. Let's take a shot at a couple more comments here. Hasib, what are your thoughts on the Tesla Semi? I have mixed thoughts on the electric trucks. I think they would suit a large segment of this industry very, very well. And that would be local deliveries, store distribution center to store deliveries, like your Walmarts, where a lot of them never go more than, I don't know what, 300 miles, 200 miles to a DC and to a store and back. Spotter trucks, yard jockeys, a lot of your municipal trucks never go more than 10 miles from their terminal at any given time. I think they would probably be really suitable to that. You don't have to, charging is not really much of a challenge. I think for over the road, they got a ways to go, in my opinion. Like, you got a whole infrastructure to build, charging stations. Uh, you couldn't just get by with one charging station at each truck stop. You're gonna have a bank of them. At that point, you're building building a mini electrical substation at each truck stop. There's some issues with that. That could be hazardous. You're gonna have to have qualified people there at all times to deal with that. Um, how long is it going to take to charge one of those? Probably more than 45 minutes. You got some real issues there, but I think they fit a certain segment of the industry really, really well. And why not do it there? I mean, you're going to put a pretty good dent in whatever you're trying to accomplish as far as environmental or whatever just by doing that, because municipal vehicles and a lot of these short hauler ones are a lot of the ones that sit idle a lot of times while you're doing work. I don't know if you've seen a lot of city buses now are electric. Remember back in the day with these city buses, man, so they would bellow black smoke every time because they get a lot of carbon, but they never get up to temperature. They never get out and get run hard. Uh, Start there instead of this big force of forcing this effort on the whole industry at such a rapid pace. See if you can make it work in one of these other sectors. Proof of concept, right? Walmart's kind of doing it. They're doing some of that. They're actually doing some autonomy too. They're scaling their trucks down in size, a lot of 6-wheelers and stuff, 10-wheelers, and sending them out like that with electric and autonomous also. That's a good test for electric. And why would you really need a diesel powered spotter truck? You know, perfect application for that. But hey, instead, we're just gonna force it on, do it by force on an industry and an infrastructure that's not ready for it. That sounds like a much better idea. I'm of the opinion, you got CNG trucks. They're playing with hydrogen fuel cells and whatnot. You got diesel. You got full electric. I don't know why, for the life of me, people haven't done diesel over electric like a locomotive. It's actually a very established thing. You got all these different technologies. Why does it have to be all in on just one? Hey, do it all. If it's really just because we need to make a change, do it all. You have seen a lot of CNG stations pop up and things like that. I never really kind of thought CNG was the answer, but mm, I don't know. No, we don't have the infrastructure yet. Trucking for fun. Thanks for coming in. Carlos Cruz says they should get rid of the 34-hour rule. Uh, See, that's the thing. Some people it probably suits well. I'm I don't like most of those rules. They're just so. I remember what it was like before we had those rules, and I was less tired as a driver back then. In the middle of the day, if you needed to stop and take a 4, 5, 6 hour nap, hey, knock yourself out. There was no penalty for it. You could get up and finish driving whatever time you needed. Take an 8-hour break, get back at her. I don't like the current rules, but hey, nobody really asked. With the projected DEF shortage, glad my truck won't be affected. Yeah, that's supposed to, from what I'm understanding, that's supposed to really hit home. They've been talking about it for a long time. We've talked about it. They're saying June, July here is the time when it's really supposed to hit home. So if it does, I'm going to jump in my my old Schneider truck and I'm going to go out and make a bunch of money. I don't know. Uh, it's going to be a real issue if that happens. Yeah, you guys shocked the U.S. government doesn't know what they're talking about? Not the slightest bit. Not the slightest bit. Oh, I backed up. My chat jumped on me all over the place. AR says at the moment I'm doing power only for a company and it's working very good for me. Well, that's very good. Maybe by the time you're ready to buy a trailer, if you're ready to buy one, prices will come back down to this planet. They're starting to. Man, are you seeing? Are you? I was talking to somebody at Truck Paper the other day. He's like, yeah, prices are coming down, man. He says auctions are getting flooded. Uh, their prices are starting to settle, which is good. I thought it would take a little bit longer. Trucks are still kind of stupid expensive. You can get them now. There's trucks everywhere, but they're still just too expensive. TBT says FMCSA is a typical oversight committee agency. They will do what's best for lobbyists and or government entities and big corporations that has a significant impact on the transportation field. Yeah, who do they run to? Who's the first person they run to every time they want to know something about trucking? ATA. ATA, I tell you what, man, if you could only pick one of those organizations to go away, to me it's ATA. And you could just about be sure everything the ATA does is going to be against the small trucker. It's in favor of the bigger ones. But I'm going to sit here and laugh someday when they turn on the bigger companies and do something that they don't like. ATA is just bought, paid for, and run by the bigger companies. WCF Invader, Hyliion is the way to go, in my opinion. 1,000+ mile range with a CNG generator. First 75 miles are all electric. At max gross weight, plus there's a weight exemption to allow higher weight limits. Yeah, I tell you what, when Hyliion first got some momentum there, I looked hard because Hyliion has or they did, I don't know if they still do, they offered a retro kit. So you could take your truck in and they pretty much strip the frame and the rear and take the rear ends off and put their system underneath it. And I don't know exactly how it worked. But they had my curiosity because it was, I think at the time when it first came out, they were talking like $45,000, and they made all kinds of claims. They had very much had my interest, and I think Hyliion is probably the most, I don't want to say logical, maybe the most practical system out there for what they're doing for trucks. They had, you said 1,000+ mile range. I think I read on one of them they were claiming almost 1,300 mile range. Tesla semis don't come with a sleeper berth. That should tell you right there their target demographic. Yeah, they'll have to offer eventually one with a sleeper, but you know, what's the range on that? Like 250 miles or something? I don't think you shouldn't need a nap that quick. But hey, Tesla might just build our electric charging truck stop. Yeah, here's the thing about that. The current administration is no fan of Tesla. So getting that done might be a problem. They kind of butt heads with that company. So we'll see. They are much bigger friends with Ford and your traditional union automakers. They don't even like to include Tesla in any of the conferences they have on EVs. I think that first one they had, Tesla wasn't even invited. So, oh, by the way, we got some merch here for my buddy Cassius King. It's a Damn It Boy T-shirt. Check that out. Go pick yourself one up from his store. You see the electric city buses that were melting in California. The city went back to diesel. No, I didn't see that. That is funny. That's funny. Electric will be good for local. It'll be easy to charge. Yeah, but you know the thing too. You bring all these municipal vehicles in. At the end of the day, obviously they're going to charge after hours and at nighttime. Our power grid is stressed already. They won't let us build any more power plants. So we're going to have to start generating, exponentially more power. The power companies typically scale back at nights when they do a lot of their maintenance. If you can get, like, I remember on the farm, you can buy these off-peak plans if you agreed to do most of your work off-peak hours, so that you weren't hitting the grid with all this machines and stuff on peak hours. They would give you a discount in pricing. So that's all going to be mostly off-peak, I would imagine. So they're going to have to generate more power at nighttime. Tesla claims they're going to look up mega chargers. They're going to have permitting and stuff, and They're they're gonna have to start making nice with the government. That's gonna be hard for them. Uh, Georgia Patriot's late to the show. That's all right. He's a channel member. He can get a late pass. He says he was at Owens Corning DHL the other day and have electric hostlers now, but the diesels are still parked there. Yeah, you'd probably want to keep them on hand until you know that there's going to be no problems. I tell you what, if I had a fleet of electric spotter trucks, they wouldn't get parked next to the building. I'll tell you that. They wouldn't. They sure wouldn't get parked next to the old fuel tanks either. They'd get way maybe somewhere in the back there. A lot of these electric jobbers like to burn down. Brother Craig says they've been playing with CNG power units in California for 20 plus years. Yeah, there's a company around me here in central Wisconsin that has a good number of day cabs, and they're all CNG. Um, they've said pretty much no financial savings because you use more CNG. And yeah, it used to be cheap, but now CNG is expensive too. So, hey, but imagine it probably helped out the environment a little bit. I don't know. Anything that's the thing. Anything that's traded as a commodity, you're subject to shifts in the market. So even electricity, CNG, natural gas, diesel, gas, all of it. So it might be, although it might be cost effective at the time you install it, 2 3 years from now there might be a shift in that commodity price, and then you're hostage to that. Tommy Reed says, "Happy I eliminated my DEF system." All right, cool. Uh, Not gonna lie, I was glad they had many of the hours of service when I was a company driver due to the company's requirements. Now that I run my own carrier, I wish the rules weren't there. Yeah, I've never. I mean, I worked for a couple different carriers. I never had one that really abused. You know, said, "Hey, you're gonna whatever. They're gonna abuse you on the hours of service. Tired to go to bed." That was just always my thing. Still is. I'm tired of going to bed. Double-edged sword, in my opinion. Yeah. Tommy Reed says, "Man, the doggone chat jumps. ATA is garbage." Yeah, I kind of wish it would go away, and I think a lot of people probably agree with that. Money will stop following. Okay. Trucking for fun says, "Trucking for fun. There ain't a lot of fun in it anymore. All the fun went away back in, before ELDs and back before that. That's when it was fun. We used to meet up and take a few hours, go have a buffet at the casino or do this or that. Back before ELDs, there was a lot more fun. And before what the heck year was that they changed the hours of service with the 34 and the 10 and the 14? I don't even remember anymore now. But the fun kind of went away with that. I'll tell you that. It really did. Uh, I'm power only. What's your take opinion on staying put or eventually buying a trailer when prices come down? Pros and cons. Well, I mean, it depends on what you're doing for power only. There's some pretty good power only opportunities out there. Historically, power only hasn't paid that well. If you go back to pre-pandemic and years before that, power only was kind of known as El Cheapo, right? The world has changed, times have changed. There is some benefit to it. I mean, typically, if you're doing power only, you're doing it for a large company that has contract freight. So in a time like this, you don't have to rely on the load board. You have probably some better volume you're looking at and maybe some security. Downside is probably a little less money. Uh, in other times, it might be uh, well, ups and downs. I mean, you have your own trailer, you have a little bit more things you can do. On the other side, when times are like this, you might be glad to have that power only. But historically, going back, several years, power only isn't really the better paying freight. But we things change. Things change. I'm not a proponent of Amazon. I don't like the company, but they're not the only power only game out there. Making cash says, has anyone heard of the speed limiters they're looking into? Yeah, that's not over yet. It's probably gonna happen, but I don't I don't like the speed limiter thing, but I don't think it's quite as big a deal as a lot of people do. Half to three quarters of the trucks on the road are already freaking limited, so it's not going to affect them at all. You hear a lot of people saying, "Well, they're going to have to, reschedule appointments and do this and that." They're not going to make any changes. All the burden will be on the driver, just like it was when ELDs came in. How many places and still do refuse to adjust their appointment times, without a fee or a penalty? Put unrealistic transit times in there. A lot of people didn't change, and they're not going to change for that. They'll just all the burden will be placed on the driver. That's why I don't like it. Tesla is trash. Okay, I've never driven a Tesla. I like. I looked inside one at that electric car show I went to, and it's like, where is everything? There's like this display dash, and then that's it. I'm like, where's all my buttons and gizmos? This is too techy for me. Plus, they're expensive. I have somebody close to me that's a insurance. Well, they take insurance claims, and apparently they have just a disproportionate number of claims from Teslas. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know. Um, Corn Metal X says they want to govern speeds, but these electric semis accelerate like race cars. You're damn right they do. You're damn right they do, man. Electric vehicles are, whoo, buddy. You step on the gas hard enough, you might spin the wheels inside the tires. Damn. I tell you what, that electric motorcycle I rode, I'm not, I will never own one of those. I don't care. But I tell you what, you twist that throttle, man, and it is like a rocket ship. It is like a rocket, and the Teslas too, man. The power is, there's no ramp up in the power; it's just instantaneous torque. Um, they'd have to put a they'd have to put a an acceleration limit before they get you for that kind of get you a ticket on that. But yeah, you want to talk about power? You got power all day with those things. Really want to put in a pre-order with Hyliion, but I think the smart thing is to see how they perform first. I hate to be the first on anything like that. Yeah, some of the bigger companies got orders in. I'd like to see how they kind of play out first. Like I said, I think Hyliion has got the most practical system out there. I kind of like them. Nikola, I wouldn't touch one of those with a 10-foot pole just because of all the fraud they committed. That company, I wouldn't trust them. Even if they turned it around and everything became legit with their equipment, because of what they did in the past, I wouldn't touch anything that they made. It's fraud as far as I'm concerned. Trey Lincoln, thanks for coming in. Have you ever seen a CNG tank explode in a van? No, I haven't, but I would bet it's a pretty violent explosion. I wouldn't want to be anywhere close to that. YouTube it? Okay, you can find it on YouTube apparently. Fate Truckin says TA in Lake Station, Indiana, out of def. Ugh. Well, hopefully just the truck didn't show up. Hopefully that's not they're not like the first or something like that. It's one of those things you don't want to be first in. Definitely, definitely. How will electric vehicle work if you live in a region that floods a lot? Not well. Not well. There's a lot of things like the cold, right? So you got all these electric vehicles. Well, batteries don't do as well in the cold. There's a Tesla dealer on the north side of Chicago. So we see, Teslas here and there. There's not a ton of Teslas around here. I was talking to a guy once. He's like, yeah, I get substantially lower mileage range in the wintertime. When it's bitter cold, like you can cut it by, I don't even know the number he told me, but it was a substantial amount. It was more than 10%, I think he told me. So even, you got wet, you got cold. What about in a storm? You got static electricity and lightning. I don't know. I'm not completely sold on it. I think there's a lot of issues. But I'm no electrical engineer, so I'm not the person to talk to on that. Definitely. I would think if one of them floods, it's done. You flood a gas powered vehicle and it gets in all that wiring and stuff, and they're problematic. They're just might as well salvage it. I couldn't imagine if one of those flooded, what would happen. But I do know you don't want to mess with the batteries in that thing, man. It ain't like changing the freaking car battery. You got to be trained or you're gonna die. It will shock you to death. Is a recession coming? Boy, Dave. Dave P wants to know if is a recession coming. I'll be honest with you. I have some very strong beliefs on that. I'm not. I'm not one to sit here and tell you that the sky is falling or the world is going to end because that's not my place. It's not the we want to be have some positivity here. I'll just say I believe we're in for some very tough times, and when you want to answer to that question, I think set trucking aside. We all do trucking. Set trucking aside for a moment and just look at the rest of the world around you. And I think the answer is pretty evident. And I am, how do I want to say it? I am taking steps to make some changes in my life outside of trucking to prepare for hard economic times. That should probably cover it, right? I believe it will probably be a little worse than a recession, and I think it will be prolonged and protracted. And the midterms aren't going to save us. A lot of people believe that the midterm elections are going to make everything okay. I don't believe that. The damage is deep and the damage is systemic. So I think we have a lot to go through, and I really think we actually haven't felt a majority of the pain yet. So that's my simple answer without being too negative. But I definitely have some strong opinions on that. So after that, we got to talk about some positivity, right? TBT says coming. It already started. Yeah, I can't disagree with that, but I think that most of the pain has not yet come. Jackknife TV says, "Hey, how's it going? Pretty good, pretty good." Many places aren't selling or they don't have parts. You are correct. This parts thing is not really correcting itself. It's been how long has it been now? It's been over a year since we started the part shortages thing, and it's not really in any meaningful way correcting itself. And some of these parts, the prices are just getting so stupid. It's like, why bother, right? So we still have a lot of things working against us. We certainly do. Alex Express Shorts in the house. Thanks for coming in. Says 100 watching, only 34 likes. He seems very shocked by that. A lot of people didn't hit that like button yet. Adrian says, I drove CNG trucks for Amazon's AFP platform for 2 years. At one point, we only had 14 of 25 trucks operating because of mechanical issues and huge shortage on certification of CNG mechanics. CNG equals headaches. Yeah, it's different. You got to have certified people. That reminds me, along those lines, something I have been meaning to talk about, and I forgot exactly what I was going to say. Oh, you keep seeing stories about problems we have in trucking, right? And this so-called driver shortage. Oh, government trying to take all these steps to correct this driver shortage that supposedly exists. And what are we going to have? The pilot programs for 18 to 20-year-old drivers. We're going to, fast track autonomy. And I think they talked about issuing a whole bunch more visas for people to be truck drivers. Let me get my crystal ball here for a second. Actually, I don't need it. It's already happening. I guess it's stating the obvious at this point. Certain point, it's not going to matter. We need an emergency program or something to get diesel mechanics. It is becoming a crisis situation, and it's another shoe to drop. I talked about broker non-payment. There's all these things. Mark my words, right? You can hold me to this later. There's all these things in trucking where the shoe has not dropped yet. the other, what is the expression? Wait for the other shoe to drop. Is that right? Yeah, mechanics. Anybody in here who has a truck that went down, this is already an issue. And I'm here to tell you, it's going to get a whole lot worse. It's going to get a whole lot worse. So we need some kind of they need to care about getting new diesel mechanics into the industry as hard as they're trying to get more drivers. Bring all the drivers in you want. If you can't get trucks and the parts to fix them, not going to matter. Not going to matter. But the other side of me says, huh, if you're looking to replace truck drivers, well, we won't go down that road yet. We'll talk about that another day. Just a number. It's going to be on the replay, gang. Appreciate that. Thank you. Uh, TBT says, just because we're watching doesn't mean we like it. Yeah, that's right. Hey, hit the thumbs down button. There you go. When in doubt, blame me. Isn't that TBT? How does that go? Blame DIY. Mark Cerrone says, I never run over 65 and I'm never late for anything. Yeah, I don't see the speed limiter issue as big an issue. We got bigger fish to fry, man. I'm telling you, man. There's bigger issues out there. Do I like it? No. I think it's stupid. You already have speed limiters. It's called the speed limit, right? And it's not that out of whack. Just like these bigger companies saying we need to have speed limiters, right? To level the playing field. It's already a level playing field. It's called a speed limit. You just choose not to approach it. You could go, whatever company. Let's pick on Schneider. Schneider could go 75 miles an hour. They choose not to. But they do have the option to govern their trucks at that, just like everybody else does. It already is a level playing field. So knock it off with the BS. But then one person picks up on that mantra, and pretty soon you hear all this stuff of leveling the playing field. I have an idea that will level the playing field. Large companies. You want a level playing field? Let's drop that self-insured nonsense. I can't be self-insured. That is not a level playing field. How about you pay the enormous insurance premiums like I have to pay? We'll call that a level playing field. See how that works out for you, Swift. Hitting everybody in the damn truck stop. Start paying insurance premiums on that. See how damn long you're in business. That's a level playing field. And we could go on and on about that. But nobody ever wants to bring that up because that's it's really inconvenient, isn't it? The truth is oftentimes inconvenient. Dang, this chat. I tell you what, YouTube, we got to get this under control here because the chat keeps jumping all around. Now I lost my place. Oh, here we go. Insult Investor says, never trust a computer with your life. That's good advice right there. And they are bringing new truck mechanics, diesel mechanics into the market. They need to spend more time on troubleshooting. A lot of times we need more. Actually, what they need to keep older school mechanics in the industry that can troubleshoot some things without a computer, because not everything can be diagnosed through a computer. Insult Investor says, stay old school. Yeah, man, that's I'm all for that. God's True Purpose says, look at it this way: your gas mileage will increase, but not by choice. A lot of people already have started slowing down. The smart people. Hey, diesel is $6-7 a gallon. They're slowing down voluntarily, and that's just really smart. Making Cash says, I agree. All right, I don't know what one of the 100 things we talked about you agree with, but that's always good news. You trust a computer anytime you fly or ride an elevator, etc. Yeah, we don't get on airplanes around here. It just doesn't make sense to me. I want something of a chance of walking away if we crash. I just don't see that happening in an airplane. Kevin says, thank you for sharing. Well, thank you for participating. G Walker says, anyone ever have a Walmart DC refuse to confirm an appointment time? Told me to confirm with the broker. They were getting too many calls. Yeah, I've had that happen. And unsuccessfully a few times, show up there and they're like, yeah, you don't have an appointment. This appointment ain't even right. So Not only is your confirmation number not right, but we don't even have this load in the computer. That got ugly. That sucked. Old school, new school is done for the day. All right, thanks for parking. Gabriel Zazuda says, if you had 70,000, what would you invest in? Ooh, that's a good question. 8-year trucker, always wanted to buy a truck. In hindsight, would you do it again? Oh, I'd do it again every time. But just jumping in out of the blue, you got cash in a market on the decline. Oh boy, do you have some opportunities. So patience, patience, patience. Just let some of this dust clear out. Right, you're going to get some good buys here shortly. I'm assuming when you say invest in, you're talking about buying a truck or something, not like an investment. I'm thinking that's what you mean. So we're going to talk about it that way. Yeah, just pay attention to the market over the next few months here. You're gonna pick something up on a steal, because there is equipment getting turned in all over the place right now, and some of it will go cheap. It might take a while for prices to come down, but they will. Uh, Always wanted to buy a truck. Okay, 8-year trucker, so you got some experience. I would say, and we've always said this, Cash and I both, if you're going to start in trucking, build an efficient operation, you will thank yourself later in a time like this. So for the last 2 years, if you built an operation where you get 8 miles per gallon, you're probably feeling really good about it right now, right? But if you built an operation where you get 4 miles a gallon, you're probably maybe kicking yourself just a little bit. I don't know, don't be too hard on yourself, but you've seen the market swings here in the last couple years, so you know what can happen and does happen. Build an operation to suit that, and spend that time. You're waiting for a bargain. Spend that time looking for a place to put that truck to work, or figuring out what you're going to do with it. In hindsight, would I do it again? Yeah, because I'm in it for the long term. Uh, this isn't something I was really just doing to cash out and capitalize, like a lot of folks were over the last couple of years. So, kind of in it for the long term. If you're in it for the long term, listen, trucking is going to exist in this country. We're a transportation society. Things have to move from here to here. And the last time I checked, a railroad car did not come to my front door to bring me groceries. It didn't go to the grocery store. It didn't go to the Walmart, right? So trucking will exist. There will be better times in trucking. It might take us a while to get there, but it'll happen. One thing's for sure is it will change. Change is inevitable. It's gonna happen. Might be change that you like, might not be change that you like. We're going to see a lot of change over the next couple of years in trucking. Probably more in the next couple of years than we've seen in the last, I don't know, 30 years, with them pushing an electric and autonomous agenda. So you're going to have to keep that in your thoughts too when you're building your operation. But patience, that'd be your best asset right now. And congratulations on saving up $70,000. Good for you. That's awesome. OAS, am I from Chicago? No, I just probably talk like it. I'm their neighbor to the north in Wisconsin. Not Walmart, but some others. Okay. All right. Mark Cerrone says, you are positive. Like Dave Ramsey says, you're positive it's going to rain. There you go. No, I just think, okay, how do I put this? Ooh, this is good. This is good. Somebody's going to copy me on this. So the writing's on the wall, right? For the economic situation, for and I felt it has been for a while. I said some last things last year. If you go back and watch some live streams, or whatever, it said some things that became very true. Do I have a crystal ball? No, but the writing is on the wall, and it was then too. However, it might just be in a language you don't speak or understand yet. But you're gonna learn to speak that language and understand it, and then hopefully you see it next time. But there's some things here where the writing is on the wall. Just not everybody can read it. Okay. A lot of people can, and they see what's coming. So you'll get there through education. Just keep trying to financially educate yourself. And the best advice I can give you is we're all in trucking, right? We're all truck drivers or somehow in the industry, truck owners or company drivers. It's weird how we as truckers get so wrapped up in trucking, isn't it? And the best thing you can do for yourself sometimes is set that aside. Now, trucking is unique that you see so many different things. You gain a different perspective on a lot of things, but sometimes that can it can jade your decisions a little bit or your outlook or what you do see. So sometimes the best thing to do is just step away from trucking. Don't look at things as a truck driver. Just look at it as let me see what's going on in the world around me in the economy. What's going on for farmers? What's going on for this person? What's going on for that person? And you'll get a good what do they call it, 1,000-foot view of it, and then you can kind of start to see. But I don't know. I don't like to throw that out there. The world is coming. You know, everything's gonna come to an end. You're gonna crash. You're gonna this. You're gonna that. We don't really know how it's gonna happen. We don't really know what's gonna happen. But I can tell you that the tough times are probably coming, and I don't know, cause people to fear and panic. It's not what I choose to do. Jackknife TV says yes, a recession is coming. I just read an article about a lot of major analysts and CEOs of companies said it's going to get real hard in the beginning of 2023. I honestly don't. I can see August, September of this year being very difficult. Maybe October. Oh, so I read a thing yesterday. I think it might have been on Freight Waves that Convoy, everybody's favorite freight broker, is laying off 90 people in what do they call it? In expectations of a weak economic forecast. So that should tell you right there. Look at all the, the market data and analytics that a company like Convoy has. If you have that Convoy app on your phone, which I still do, I shouldn't, but I do because I like to window shop, whatever. Uh, they're pulling information. Unless you delete that app, you can stop the app, but unless you delete it off your phone, who even knows then? They probably put cookies or something in there. They know where, when, and how you're going somewhere. They know how many trucks are headed to a certain market. Blah blah blah. Think of how much information they have, and they're telling you that it's a weak economic forecast in trucking. So believe that, right? They're laying off 90 people. Now I wonder which 90 people are they going to lay off? Is it the 90 people in Seattle, or is it 90 people in, I don't know, Colombia, Pakistan, India, whatever countries they are that they use? I about guarantee it'll be 90 people in the U.S. So if you've had problems with some of these them and Uber, where those apps can work great until you have a problem. Once you got a problem, you got a real problem. So are you gonna have bigger problems now that they've laid off people stateside? So when it comes to resolve an issue with a load, you're gonna wait longer, go through more hassle. I'm not taking that chance. Definitely not taking that chance. Making Cash says I've been subbed to your channel for about 5 weeks now. My first live, and I gotta say I'm very impressed. Thank you for your time. Oh, thank you, man. That's very kind words. Did you miss the one earlier today from the Antique Power Show? Man, I was out there like an idiot in the rain. That's just something I like to do. We're gonna go back there. It's a whole weekend thing. We might go back tonight for some burgers and stuff. It stopped raining. Boy, did I get my ass wet. We went out in that parade, and I got soaked. But I tell you, I had a smile. Man, nothing makes me happier. My wife was giving me crap yesterday when I was out driving that Minneapolis Mole, and I think it's grinning like a bird fed cat. She's like, I ain't seen you smile like that probably all year until it's time to do this. But that's fun for me, man. That's fun. Uh, DJ Phono says, how's it going? People are stealing CPC out here in Los Angeles, and dealership has backed up orders. Yeah, I heard that they're stealing them modules out of Freightliners. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. But you gotta wonder, those things gotta have serial numbers. They gotta have some kind of markings on them, and eventually that truck's probably going to end up into a dealership at some point. Wouldn't you think that if they just made every dealer check, I don't know, identification markers on these things, that they could find stolen ones eventually and prosecute? I don't know. I don't know enough about those things. I do know freaking catalytic converters, man. Them people are stealing that stuff in the daylight now. Just rolling through parking lots, cutting out catalytic converters. I tell you what, I catch anybody doing that, they're gonna get hurt. They're gonna get hurt bad. I'll park my car on their legs and just beat them in the head until I'm satisfied. Catch them doing that to mine. That's just no. There's nothing I hate in this world more than a thief, man. Second is probably a liar, but a thief, you're low to me. Um, TBT USA says he's knowledgeable. That's a fact, but don't forget it's his fault. It always is. It is. I got to get them T-shirts made. Hey, somebody's got to take the blame, right? With both feet, 29,000 CPCs on back order. Last I knew, a few weeks ago. Wow, 29,000. Now, is that for new manufacturing, or is that for like trucks that are already in the market? That is a lot. That's things like that. Let's see, that in itself seems pretty innate, right? So you got 29,000 CPCs on back order. What else you got? What else you got that's on back order? Uh, and then you got fuel problems. You got DEF problems. You got inflation. You've got we could go on. We could go on, man. I hate to see what harvest time looks like this year for farmers, right? They use a lot of fuel for harvest, and then you got drying season. You harvest those crops. Now you got to dry them. That uses propane. There's different fuels you can use for that. It's a little, hmm, I don't know. Hmm. With both feet, you got those shirts for sale yet? Not yet. Not yet. Oh, what happened here? At my daughter's graduation from a tech school, there was about 10 heavy mechanics that graduated. That's awesome. That's awesome. But you know, being a diesel mechanic is hard work. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, a lot of it's computerized anymore, but it is hard, heavy work. And there's not a lot of people that want to do that anymore. Working on cars is knuckle busting work. Things aren't as heavy, but man, you're busting your knuckles all day. At least on the trucks, you're going to bust knuckles too, but the cars are much, much tighter. Super chat. Mark Cerrone. Holy cow. 99.99 super chat. Thank you so much. That is very kind of you. That is too kind. Oh, Sterling. Sterling's got it here. $5 super chat. CPT has no serial number and has to be programmed. Okay, so does it have to be programmed at a dealer level, or can anybody do it? So, or you can do it. Hmm. I don't know too much about that. I have to look into that. Here comes the mechanical trucks again, right? Uh, in a lot of ways, we might be better off. I tell you that. Your fuel mileage is going to suffer. You go back to mechanical trucks, not going to have most of these problems. They're going to need to start. Well, nah, it goes too much into opinion rather than fact. Ah, screw it. They're going to need to start allowing some of that to go back to the mechanical ways and the old ways. But if you have an agenda of pushing things out and pushing people out, you won't allow that at any cost. You'll just make people eat the consequences of these problems, which is kind of what we're doing now. A lot of these problems could be solved, but it would give up years of progress of agenda, and they'd rather just sit here and make us eat these problems and say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" But that's merely an editorial opinion. DJ Phono says they stole my cousin's CPC and now his truck is down. One man owner up. So 29,000 of them on back order and you don't have one anymore. What are the chances of you getting one without stealing it or buying a stolen one from somebody? Are they doing sting operations to get a hold of these people by the throat with their stolen CPCs? I don't know. TBT, both Cash and DIY said they're going to do it, so I didn't want to steal their thunder, but I will if they don't. Knock yourself out, man. Do it. Do it. I tell you what, you do it. Just send me one and I'll wear it. I'll wear it on a live stream. Big Rigger 61 transmission done, and I got screwed in my opinion. How bad's the damage, Big Rigger? Tell me all about it. What happened? You had to get a transmission put in the truck or repaired. I can't remember exactly. And it's insult investors. I don't get on airplanes either, nor do I ride in elevators. Well, I ride an elevator. I mean, look at me. I'm a big fat guy. You think I'm climbing them stairs? Come on. We're gonna start taking the stairs though. I tell you what. We're gonna make some changes. Circus Boy says the pilot still flies the majority of the time and takes over when things get tough. The computer is an inferior pilot. Yeah, probably. But also, don't they have a fly-by-wire regulation now, where isn't it all planes have to have fly-by-wire capability, where they can be maneuvered from the ground? Isn't that after those after 9/11? Didn't they pass that regulation? We could have made electric cars without any computers at all. Yeah, what's interesting about that is you go back in history to like near the invention of the automobile, back when we made things in this country, and you had all these different automobile manufacturers. Remember, like, I can't even remember the names of them. Gosh dang, my brain is fried. There were electric vehicles. They had them, and not anymore. Anybody ever see that movie, Who Killed the Electric Car? Watch that movie. That was pretty interesting. So Saturn, was it Saturn EV? Was it the Saturn EV1? I think it was. Came out with this electric car years ago, like back in the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. And they said these freaking cars were just amazing and awesome. And then they put them out on lease programs. And then after a little while, they pulled them all back in and shredded them, took them off the market. But very interesting movie. Very interesting. Wait a minute. Corn Metal X says I dropped my speed 2 miles yesterday and increased by 1.5 miles per gallon. I might go even slower to see if I get better results. 1.5 miles per gallon from slowing down 2 miles per hour? That doesn't sound right. Usually they say what, 1/10 of a mile per gallon for every mile per hour over 55 or something like that. But I suppose it depends on your aerodynamics and gearing and all that. So, hey, whatever it is, we'll take an extra 1.5 miles per gallon, won't we? I know I would. Big Rigger 61 says I was charged rebuilt transmission and core, and it's my transmission in my truck still, and it's not right in my opinion. Tranny chatters in certain gears. We'll be battling with the shop on Monday. So they charged you a core charge to rebuild the transmission that was already in your truck. That doesn't fly. That doesn't fly at all. Unbelievable. Yeah, yeah. I would definitely be chatting with them on Monday. That's for damn sure. Grease Garcia's got a Mac 13 speed for sale if anyone's interested. It's a 2011. Just the transmission or the whole truck? Go ahead and put it out there. Trucking is a lifestyle, it's not a job. For some people, it is what you want it to be. It's very unique. There you go, Grease Garcia. What's your price on the Mac? You guys go ahead and hammer that out between you. Circus Boy says, I'll keep in mind that the majority of trucking is independent owner operators, not major trucking companies. We're not going to purchase autonomous or electric trucks. No, but they can force you out. They can regulate you out of the industry, or they can make insurance so expensive you can't get it. They will do whatever they want to do to make it happen. And can disagree with that. I get it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They can make it nearly impossible for you to do. Well, they're doing it right now with fuel prices. Make it nearly very difficult for you to do business to the point where it forces you out. Fuel prices is only the beginning. You could do it many different ways. 1212 Guerrero says 55 save lives and fuel, less chances of accidents, speeding tickets, less stressful. Anyone can speed. Real professionals follow speed limits and do not tailgate. Love your channel. Thank you. Yeah, slower speeds are probably safer. They're easier on equipment, less fuel, less tickets. But I will probably in everything always fall on the side of personal freedom. Uh, I think that we have speed limits for a reason, and we can all travel within that range, and it is a fair playing field. I believe it is. All right, 35,000 for the Mac. There you go. What could be positive about more government regulations? I agree. They're not going to. They don't follow the regulations we have. More bad or wrong regulations isn't going to fix anything. It's not. I'm almost in every circumstance against any new regulation. You can't say that 100% of times in everything. Nothing's really going to change in trucking within 30 years. I strongly disagree with that. It's going to change, and it's going to change at a rapid pace. It already is changing. It already is changing. That's what company drivers say. In reality, when I'm on a $6 mile trip, I don't care about fuel costs as much as my time which I could be doubling my income. 55 does not save lives. That's what company drivers say. No, to say I don't care about fuel. I care about fuel. I cared about fuel costs when I was paying $1.25 a gallon. Just money in my pocket. I would always care in every circumstance. Care about fuel costs. There will never be enough money for me not to care. I also care about my time. 55 does not save lives. 55, I mean, numbers are arbitrary. You can say 55, 56, 57, 60, 61. Numbers are kind of arbitrary to me. Same with 70 hours, 11 hours, 14 hours, uh, just about anything. It's kind of something that, so if they do want speed limiters, it's going to be an arbitrary number. It'd probably be not based on any statistics or anything meaningful. That's kind of what another thing I don't like about it. Sterling's in the house. It says greetings. Thanks for coming in. David Bryant Trucking. It's not the only reason. That app is a tech company. They're laying off developers. It's part of the business model. Yes, you are correct. A lot of the people they're laying off are tech developers. But if you're a tech company based in tech, you kind of also want always that next advancement, right? Constantly have people developing tech if that's what you're all about. It's any of those layoffs are kind of a sign, right? Oh, below the woods in the house. I can't see what that icon is. Making Cash says I did get the notification for live earlier, but I didn't watch and drive. That's okay. We were just screwing around at the Antique Power Show. Insult Investor says there have been shootings over catalytic converters. I'm not opposed to that. Man, I hate a thief, man. I hate it. Jaywalk said that Convoy was the IT people that were getting the boot. Yeah, but they sell themselves as an IT company. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, now the people that got us here, you're out the door. Well, if you want to keep that competitive edge over your competition, like Uber, and who else we got in that space now? Transfix, all kinds of these digital brokerages. You want to keep one up on the next guy. You need people like that, unless they feel like the infrastructure has been built out to as far as it's going to go. But that's kind of like in the tech industry. That's like famous last words, right? Who was it back uh, years ago? Said, "Well, everything that's going to be invented has already been invented." Well, in the tech industry, that's kind of like, hmm, you don't believe that. You don't believe it. Oh, G Fridays in the house. Thanks for coming in. Old school, new school says, "Why park your car and then break their legs and get the truck?" Don't you want to stay for some satisfaction though? You find somebody beating your or stealing your catalytic converter. I want like $1,000 worth of satisfaction out of it. I don't even know that the police would stop you, would they? You'd probably just show up and look the other way. Georgia Patriot says, "You taking my catalytic converter because you want something to recycle? Here's some lead to recycle." There you go. There you go. Oh, Mark Cerrone, thanks again for super chat. Appreciate it. Oh, with both feet, that's a good point. Careful, last time you got soaked in alive, you were sick for months. See, I need to consult you. I need to consult you before I do anything stupid like that. You're right. When I did that polar plunge, it took me 3 months to get over it. David Bryant Trucking, the CPCs can be repaired. Gentry and Sons did a video on the guy who does it here in the States. Okay, that's good to know. Tolga, oh, Sterling's in the house. Thanks again for the $5 super chat. Tolga's in here. Thanks for coming in. Brother Craig says, "Thieves stole all the catalytic converters off our fleet service trucks." You have got to be kidding me. Ah, is it if it isn't hard enough to do business? That is just, and we are very short on the metals that go in these things. So if you're looking for a good investment, well, metals. Let's just say this: metals are in short supply, and there's also acts of holding back. Other countries that we get some of these rare earth metals from for different chips and catalytic converters. What's in a catalytic? Isn't a catalytic converter? Isn't rhodium one of the main things in there? I know there's some other stuff in there, but I think rhodium is the oddball metal in those, if I'm not mistaken. If anybody knows for sure, let me know. But a lot of that stuff comes from China because we don't do a ton of mining here anymore. And then a lot of it used to come from like Africa in the former British colonies. Well, then Britain surrendered some of those colonies. So, hey, we don't have a lot of sources of that anymore. Insult Investor says, "As a car mechanic, I confirm my knuckles are busted." I bet they are. I bet they're about hamburger by the end of every week. Hell of a Monday morning. Yeah. You had to come in and find all your service vehicles with no catalytic converters. What did they do? What the hell? What the hell did you do? I can't imagine you could. Uh, can't imagine you could find a whole fleet worth of catalytic converters on short notice. TBT says, "Have Sterling StreamYard in and get the diesel mechanic insight." I can do that. Let's send Sterling a link if he wants it. We're gonna email it to him. Sterling. Oh, I forgot Sterling's email. Well, heck, we'll just put it in the comments here. This is for Sterling. There you go, brother. If you want to come in and give us a diesel mechanics insight into it, uh, feel free. Georgia Patriot says, "Most of our problems are created by politicians trying to solve non-existent problems." Yeah, what is that? It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Create the problem so that you can provide the solution. That's how a lot of the things get done in our society today. Create manufactured problems to provide the solution. That way you can control a situation you would have otherwise not have control over. That's how a lot of things get accomplished. I got it. I got it. David Bryant Trucking. Somebody super chat that CPCs can be repaired by a company here in the States that Gentry and Sons did a video on. I drive for Western Express and can't afford a super chat. That's funny. That's funny. Ooh, Big Rigger. They got you for $11,000 to reman that transmission. Good God. I had a Columbia with a Series 60 in it and a 10-speed direct. And last time I bought a reman transmission, not too many years ago, just the transmission was $2,400. Then you add on your clutch and installation. Still got it all done for low fours to put a reman transmission in. But I know they've gone up, and it's not necessarily the kind of transmission you got. And that was direct from Detroit. That was at a Detroit shop. DJ Phono says, I just heard through the grapevine Farmer John's biggest facility is closing by the end of the year. Got an inside information this year, and next year won't be too great. Oh man, I'm not familiar with Farmer John. Tell me who Farmer John is. Most of our problems are created by politicians. Oh, yep. Trying to solve non-existent problems. DEF, DPF, speed limiters, hours of service. Well, you're not too far off. I don't think you're far off at all. I don't think you're off at all. Cool trucking in the house. Thanks for coming in. David Bryant says, "What's 11,000 super chats?" Hey, that'd be all right. That's all right. You could be viewer of the year. I'll tell you that much. Here you go. Abdi Fatah says, first successful electric car made its debut around 1890 thanks to William Morrison, a chemist who lived in Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah, Nikola Tesla worked on a little bit of that stuff too. Except for they allegedly, this is the story I've read, him and another gentleman developed an electric car that it didn't run off an electric charge. It was able to run off static electricity pulled from the environment. Figured that one out. I saw a picture of it. It was a Pace. The name of the car was called a Pace Aero. Was the brand of car. They modified it. I'm going to assume that story was true. Tesla did some amazing things that a lot of people can't figure out to this day. With both feet says CPC on eBay for $6,000 would still need programmed. Probably stolen anyways. Rim the Tube says Ford's wife used to drive only electric vehicle. Yep, there was a good number of electric vehicles back in the day. Back in the early part of the automotive, what do you call it? Revolution. What do you call it? What do you want to call it? Calvin Leak, hey, thanks for coming in, buddy. Must have had a light load or flat ground. Oh, for the guy that improved 1.5 miles per gallon, 2 miles per hour, maybe. You must have went from 102 to 100. There you go. That could be. Bull of the Woods says, at 65, I'm at 8.4, 2020, 579 with a PACCAR. Ooh, them PACCARs are pulling some damn good numbers for fuel economy. People need to do a cost-benefit analysis. How much does slowing down save money and fuel, but cost and revenue? Slowing down might actually lose income. I've done the numbers on that. Almost every time I've come out ahead slowing down. There's not too many times anymore that pressed for time. But everybody's got different runs. Okay, I think I read that one already. Electric vehicle used to be luxury before, so all times came back. Okay. Oh, it's okay. You got the tractor for sale, not just the transmission. We got her. CPCs can be reprogrammed for less than the cost of replacement by an American small business owner. Yep, Gentry and Sons. Okay, we got that. We'll have to go check out that video. Old School, New School. He or she, I don't know, 2023 Volvo with a D13 and getting 7.3 to 7.5 at 70 with heavy loads. That's pretty good for heavy loads going that fast. Wonder what you get at about 60, 62, 65. Oh, now we got a problem. Intruder. How you doing, buddy?
What's happening?
not too much. Got me new. Okay, so let me do my haul video here. I got my Father's Day present here from the tractor show. Check out my new Minneapolis Moline hat, the one I'm wearing.
Right.
Stylish. Got me this hat with a picture of my Oliver on it. Dang, green screen keeps wanting to bug it out. There we go. Got me this hat with an Oliver on it. And then this other one here is Alice Chalmers hat. I like this one. That's pretty cool with their old school emblem on it. That's what I got today.
I've got
the show.
Yeah, we got the same tailor.
Ah, where'd you get that T-shirt?
Off of the.
Is that in his merch store?
Yeah. That's the.
Oh.
I requested a Scallywag shirt, and he got it made up.
That's a pretty good T-shirt right there. Bremen Loops Freightliner 2023 driving 63 miles an hour and getting 8.4 miles per gallon. That's the way you do it right there.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool Truckin' says if they do that and take away the ability to feed families, I see a lot of brokers, DOT, and regulators being sniped, ran over, and beaten to death. They're pushing the wrong buttons. Might happen, but it's going to affect more than just trucking. Trucking just one thing. Dang, chat just jumped on me. I don't know why it does this. Jackknife. Oh, there you go. Jackknife TV says, I honestly looked into buying a Nikola or a Tesla. The hardest part is getting financed by any bank or institution. I went to see it as a risky proposal, even with $50,000 down and putting the house up. It's risky to be the first of anything, honestly. The Nikola I would stay away from. Straight up fraud they've committed. Under no circumstance would I buy one of them. Tesla or Hyliion? Yeah. Bring it on. We got you back. Only people that are going to get a Tesla or Nikola are ones that can practically pay for cash or have financial connections, or they have their own facilities, like a Walmart, like a Target, things like that. AB says, what do you think about the PDI tool or OTR tool for a one-truck operation? I did a video on that. We have a couple of drivers with OTR tools in the fleet. Absolutely love them. I've heard there's other devices that are as good or better. Just get you one, get you a good one. I don't know about anything about the PDI tool. Honestly, don't. But any tool that you have is going to be better than no tool. They've gotten a couple drivers out of sticky situations off the tow truck, things like that. Yep, I agree with that. MN Trucking in the house, thanks for coming in. Properly trained career market truck drivers is what saves lives. It helps the situation, that's for sure, don't it? CPAP trucker in the house, is that giant sequoia trees behind you? Yeah, we're doing some camping. I think I'm gonna switch to indoors here. It's wet and cold outside, so I'm gonna sit in a hot tub here for a while with a few of my closest friends. Hopefully I didn't screw up did that show up on your end there with both feet?
Yeah,
there we go.
You and your Asian buddies.
Yeah, we're just chilling at the bathhouse. Maybe that's where I got so sick, right? Come on. Got something I couldn't wash off. Ryan Brandenburg says, I'm here. You may begin. All right. Yeah, Circus Boy knows about Tesla. Yeah, I remember Art Bell talking about that. He had an example of a power generator developed at his ranch, 2 loops of copper wire, 300 feet in circumference, 20 feet apart. But didn't it run all the way around his property? And he could get measurable current off of that, just with not connected to anything, pulled from the atmosphere. I remember him talking about that. Oh, here you go. Insult Investor found it. The link to Nikola Tesla's most amazing Pierce Arrow car project. There it is right there. It says it ran off long power lines, I think. I think it ran off of atmospheric static electricity, if I'm not mistaken. And if it wasn't, that's not the car I'm talking about. But I remember reading about that Pierce Arrow from back then. Oh, Farmer John's produces bacon, sausage, and pig slaughterhouse. Okay. Food is as much as fuel is an interesting topic right now. I'm here to tell you, food is about to become an interesting topic. I'll tell you that, man. Mike Poor says stealing fuel saves money. Yeah, but it can also lead to lead poisoning. You can get lead poisoning from stealing fuel. Did you know that with both feet?
Yeah. Copper jacketed lead.
Yeah, the other precious metal. Circus Boy, are you the James Best I've heard about in the interwebs? No, sir. I believe I'm probably quite the opposite of that. I'm probably on that what they call it, 180 degree from that. I don't know. Who am I to judge? I don't watch too much interwebs. Never been confused for that before. No, this is never mind. Big Rigger 61, they told me $47.50 for the transmission. They charged me $1,500 for the core. They did 5 U-joints, 2 carrier bearings, which that was fine. If it wasn't making noise and leaking, I would be pissed. I wouldn't be pissed. Okay, $47.50 seems, I don't know, fair for transmission, not knowing, what they are. That's probably not out of line. But $1,500 for the core, it was your core. How the heck can they charge you a core charge on your transmission? I don't know. They got some splaining to do. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Making noise and leaking, that's just like part of the deal anymore when you take the truck in, isn't it?
Yeah. What was it that Sterling said in one of his videos yesterday? He's like, I'm a mechanic, whatever. That's why I got into trucking, because if I could stop things from leaking and making noise, that was half the battle. I thought, you know what? That's pretty spot on. That's what most of us could hope for.
Yeah.
ZI12 1999 super chat. I appreciate that. It says you and your brother, or what thought was your brother Cash, should bring on Brian from ET Transport. His YouTube channel is Wheel Burner Express. What do you think about the motor oil shortage? And where is Cash? Cash is working right now. I sent him a link, but he's a working man. The motor oil shortage, add it to the list. I mean, we're talking about what? PCPs? We're talking about motor oil. We're talking about just about every other damn part for your truck. We're talking about fuel. We're talking about DEF. Now, you can keep going down this road. These are all the things, I just said before, we're not going to get into too many details, but if you follow the logical progression of all this, where do you think it goes? You can go far down this rabbit hole without even getting into any conspiracy. You can just go down a list of things you can't get, or are hard to get, or are way too expensive, right? Yeah. So
tires seem to be getting easier, at least.
Yeah, but man, they're expensive.
Yeah, I had Goodyear call me. I put tires on my truck 2 months ago, maybe 3, probably 3. When I was calling around and I left him my number, when I was looking for tires, he called me this week. Hey, we got some tires in now.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Man, people just stop buying. There's not a lot of selling and buying and selling going on right now, I'll tell you that much. Sterling can't make it in. He's got 80 miles to go. That's okay. He's here in spirit. I'm just going to sit here and quote him from his videos all day. Oh, this is another good one. Rimlatube says, hey, Adam, what are your thoughts if we start a strike for a week? Let's say start from I-80, then move to I-40, just shut down, and let's call it a day. I do have some thoughts on that. Y'all probably aren't going to like it. I'll be honest with you. You're probably not going to like it. And everybody probably saw that Asian My video from last week of that dude about if you don't shut down, you're not a real trucker, and shut down and we'll teach this country what, truckers are all about, and they really need us. I don't like that train of thought. I don't like it at all, because you don't want to be part of the problem. You never want to be part of the problem. People are hurting right now. Why do you want it when people are hurting and food is expensive? Some things are hard to get. Why do you want to contribute to that problem and hurt your fellow American? Right? I don't feel like that's a very American thing to do. Plus, How many times have we convoyed, went on strike, protested? Tell me once when it ever did a bit of good. The last stupid convoy they came up with, somebody made off with almost $2 million. Tell me where that money went. And what did he accomplish? Now, the Canadian one was well done. I will give them that. But we rarely do that. And as far as parking it for, you're not talking about this, but this guy was talking about parking it for however long until people realize that we're truckers and you're going to have to give us what we want, blah blah blah. Or what did he say? If you can't afford to park it for a couple months or whatever, I'm just going off of memory, that you're not a real trucker and you need to get out now. Why are people so quick to run away from the business that they've built? Why are they trying so hard to just run away from the business you've built? This is something you built for yourself, for your family. There will eventually be better times ahead. Trucking is going to continue to exist. It's going to suck for a while. Eventually, we'll figure it out. Now, will everybody make it? No. Does everybody want to make it? No. But I'm not going to sit here and tell people to shut it down, quit your business, hurt the rest of the country. I tell you what, you put that kind of hurt on the rest of the country, like you think you will, like that other guy. And I'm not accusing you of this rimlitude, but that other guy was very hostile about it. Shut it down, teach these people a lesson. And I think that's very selfish and an asinine way of thinking. You're going to hurt people worse when they're already hurting. And number two, if you're successful in hurting them as bad as you think you're going to hurt them, you're going to do nothing more than turn them against you. You're going to become the bad guy. And you're not going to like what happens after that. There'll be regulations, all right. It'll be more regulations against you, not in your favor. Merely my opinion. And there's more to it than that, but it's not worth it. That's kind of what I think. Like, I don't want to hurt people more when they're already hurting. I wouldn't want to hurt people when they're not hurting. And two, eventually you're going to turn people against you in what you're trying to accomplish. You're going to accomplish the exact opposite of what you want to accomplish. You want to talk about furthering an agenda that is trying to replace you in the first place with whatever autonomy that may or may not happen within the next how many years. You're giving them more ammo to use against you. Of this is why we need to do this, because look what happens if the truckers just decide to shut down for a week or 2 weeks. This is what happens. We need to change things so this can never happen again. That's what they will use against you. And if they can't do it right away, you'd be damn sure they'll do it over time. And they're patient people, and they have time, and they have a lot of money. They'll use your own money against you. I mean, they do it every day. But that's probably not popular. Probably a lot of people don't agree with it, but that's my opinion. Probably get some hate for that, but hey. Zurich Express, would it be a good idea now to activate my own authority? It's a tough time. Make sure get something. Make sure you got something lined up for yourself. If you're just coming in it to do spot freight, it's a difficult time. I ain't saying it can or can't be done, but just know that it's not what it was. 8 months ago? But hey, we got another participant here. Cool trucking in the house. There we go.
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey,
How you doing?
Good. Just got home, kicking back.
Here you
Thought
go.
I'd come on in and give my 2 cents.
There you go. You're an old school whippersnapper, right?
Yep. First thing I want to say is the only effective shutdown I ever seen in my lifetime was in the early 70s when Jimmy Hoffa had the union shops stand with the independents, and they shut this nation down. And and back then they had you tie a white T-shirt to your CB antenna to let people know you were just going down the road to get home. They were sniping people off of overpasses and everything else back then, and they got what they wanted.
Yeah.
But it also culminated in deregulation in 1979.
Unintended consequence, isn't it?
Yep.
What would we do now since nobody has a CB anymore? how would
Whole,
we know? Put
whole lot of
something on your
people
cell
getting
phone.
sniped.
Yeah, on your satellite radio antenna.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
oh, how times have changed. ZI12 says I rented a Tesla. No one told me about the idling fee when I was returning it. I have to pay almost $1,000. There you go. There you go. Boy. Georgia Patriot says, hey, when a guy who runs a fleet of reefer says it's going to become an issue, you probably ought to listen up. I don't, honestly, my view of that is not coming from reefer freight or trucking at all, to be perfectly honest with you. It comes more from the farming people that I'm related to and deal with.
Hey, it's getting sad out there. I was at the Petro up in Spokane, Washington this morning, and they have one cook on staff.
What?
Yep, one cook on staff, and they can't get another cook. It was open 8 hours a day during the week. Closed. The restaurant's completely closed on the weekends. Yeah, it's just pitiful, man. And they had hardly any staff in the store. I mean, she was running herself crazy trying to take care of everybody. It's ridiculous, man.
You know what really upsets me is, like, you see that, right? And you saw they're doing the best they can. It is not their fault. Management chose to understaff the place. And when you see somebody come in and just unload on these people and tell them you're doing a crappy job or not doing this right or hurry up and do that, hey, man, a lot of these people are working their asses off. And for somebody to come in and be a jackass to them, it's not their fault. They have no control over that. Number one, they probably can't find help.
That's
no one wants
that's
to
the
work
point
there.
right there.
And number two, hey, if management's trying to cut back expenses, whatever, they have no control over that. So just be decent to these people. Be decent to everybody. But man, some of these people are working damn hard for very little money. The last thing they need is to catch hell from us. Like,
Well, the
obviously
reason
there's
I'm
problems.
pissed off because there's nobody wanting to go back to work.
No,
I mean,
signs everywhere.
they're getting all this free money from Biden, and I don't blame them. Why go back to work if you're gonna get everything paid for and free medical and
Train for a job.
I think your
my
wife's
wife, she's upset.
I think she's a little upset. Oh.
Yeah,
Well, it upsets me because it's grandmas, it's people like me, our generation that's working when we've got our kids' generation and the younger, the
millennials.
special people, I'll call them that way.
Yeah, they're all becoming special.
TBT says you have to drop an F-bomb every other word to be confused with James Best. I like to listen to him from time to time. He's live now, actually. Okay. Well, I don't mean to draw anything away. Be honest, I haven't watched a ton. I honestly don't watch a ton of YouTube. I don't know what other people do, be perfectly honest with you. And I wouldn't want to take anything away from what another man does. Ryan Brandenburg, wow, winner of the day. $3,139.59 fuel surcharge. Just the fuel surcharge on a 7-drop load to Florida last week. 1,600 miles. There you go. Was it $2? No, not quite $2 a mile just in fuel surcharge. Damn it, boy. Winner.
Yep.
There you go. He's the big winner. Tolga says, I hope that those guys wearing the pool swimmer I hope they're wearing swimmer in that bathtub. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. The bacteria is just too much for me. We're going to go somewhere with a little less bacteria.
Go to the Petro in Spokane.
There you go. You used to have your tranny rebuilt for $2,100. Yeah, there you go. At the last time I redid it, it was almost even money for a reman versus rebuilding. So I'm like, you're doing the labor anyway. Just pull the reman out or pull the tranny out. We'll put a reman in there versus rebuilding it.
And they used to do it in 3 hours.
Well, that's pretty fast.
just to swap them, not rebuild it, but just to swap them. I used to be able to get a tranny swapped in 3 hours.
I think the fastest I ever had a guy drop one in and out for me was 6 hours. Haha, there you go. Zinger. There you go. You got yourself some tires for $300 a piece.
Yep.
Zena. I'm not familiar with that name. Is that probably a Chinese?
Yeah, it's Chinese. Went online and got them. They're damn good tires too.
Okay.
I got those cheaper than I got the recaps from Love's. About $200 cheaper. So, but the Love's recaps, they got lifetime warranties on those. So that's why I
Okay.
got those.
Recaps have come a long ways. I used to just absolutely be dead set against them, but I found some that actually been pretty good. I don't think they're all great, but recap technology is just so much further along than it used to be.
Yep. As long as you watch the tire pressures, the air pressures. Yeah. Even a brand new tire will you can ruin a brand new tire with if you run them low on air.
I've had two Virgin Michelins just peel the tread right off on me. Not underinflated or anything.
I had two Ironmans go to crap on my steers. It was mainly because I needed new shocks, but yeah, they just started cupping out and everything else. I think I got maybe 12,000 miles out of them. Then they started cupping. I'm going to have them all shaved down, and then I'll just use them as spares. But
yeah. Big Rigger 61 says, I'm hoping to stop payment at the bank in the morning. It's an 18 speed. Ask somebody on that first, because I'm just wondering if that could be considered theft of services. If for writing a check and then canceling it. But I could be wrong. I would consult somebody's advice on that.
So stealing $1,500 in court charge, that could be theft in transmission services.
That doesn't make it right, but you don't want to compound it with another problem.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission.
Yeah, but committing that's $11,000. That's over a dollar amount that could be considered a felony. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but I know two wrongs don't make.
Give them a chance to make it right first. See what they say.
Right.
And then if I screw it all up,
I wouldn't do it without talking to them.
Yeah.
I'd talk to them first.
They may have just screwed up. I understand you being mad, though. I'll tell you that. Hopping mad.
I'm about ready to shut it down, man.
Are you?
Oh yeah, we just did a loop, out to Chicago, from Boise, Chicago, up to Spokane, and then back down here. And first leg of the loop, I took home $900. So
really,
yeah.
So that's so you said Spokane to Chicago?
Well, no, it's no, Boise to Chicago, Chicago to Spokane, and then back here.
So Boise to Chicago, what is that, about 1,700 miles?
1746, I think it was, something like that.
And you netted about $900, huh? Where's my calculator? That's just touch over 50 cents a mile. Do better on the way back or not really?
Well, I haven't got my settlement yet, but we did really good on fuel. We slowed down and we got about 7.5 miles a gallon overall on the whole trip. So we're gonna do pretty good on the way back. But I mean, my wife's getting offers for 80 cents a mile going company driver.
That's hard. How do you say no? Honestly, and from the outside looking in, so 80 cents a mile with what you could say no risk to you. If a tire blows or you blow an engine, you're not on the hook for that.
Right.
I just don't. Where's the point where 80 cents a mile that's good? That's big money, right?
Back in the 90s, I was an owner operator in the 90s, and that's what I was making leased on with the company is 80 cents a mile.
Yeah. I mean, is there a point coming where companies have to cut wages? I mean, look, honestly, you say, okay, they're getting fuel surcharge, they're getting this, they're getting that. Yeah, but fuel surcharge don't pay on empty miles. It doesn't pay on idle time. They're still paying inflated prices for things just like we are. Yeah, they get better pricing power, but still, and not every load touch is going to be in customer freight. They still are going to pull a call off the load boards and stuff from time to time.
Right.
That's
it's not all contract freight. It can't be all contract freight.
And generally they're running, typically owner operators run a little older equipment a lot of times. So these bigger fleets, they got to compete for drivers that probably newer, fancier equipment. They have, so they may have expenses that you and I might not have. It just seems like there's a point It's a great time company driver. I'll tell you that.
Yep. Yeah, but you like the smaller guy, they can't hire drivers for that. Especially if they're
I
on
could
the
never pay somebody. I could never pay somebody 80 cents a mile. Wouldn't
Right.
happen. Couldn't happen.
Yeah, I need a local driver, but I'm not paying that much.
Yeah. What do you figure you got to pay to be competitive in the market?
Oh, I don't know what I'm going to pay to be competitive. I know what I'm going to pay, but I mean, it'd be 65 to 80 a year local, home every day here, in Boise. But
if I was going to pay, I would be percentage.
I'm going to pay by the trip. But
Oh, well, that'd work too.
because it's just over to Twin Falls and back. Usually it's twice a day. So
Oh, you're out of here, huh?
Yeah.
You're out of Idaho?
yeah,
Right on.
Yeah, you guys are probably neighbors. Don't even know it.
Probably are. We're out of Boise. Where are you out of?
yeah, Caldwell.
Oh, nice.
If
Yep.
Big Rigger 61 says so great, they try and push this electric trucks. Where are we charging the truck? Where are you parking the truck? Yeah, I mean we talked about that. The infrastructure just isn't there. And okay, so you need a place to park these electric trucks. A lot of places aren't going to want you around their facilities. They occasionally have a fire or two on these things. So are you going to be pulling fuel tanker with an electric truck when you have an increased risk of fire hazard? There's a lot of things.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm
think
for
about.
the electric trucks. I am for the electric. I'm not for the autonomous trucks,
Right.
but I'm for the electric trucks because I'll fill the top of my trailer full of solar panels, and I'll be driving down the road for free.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you start where they make sense, and that's in local hauling, municipalities. There's a lot of places where these trucks never go 20, 30, 40 miles from their home terminal. It makes all kinds of sense. Walmart, distribution center to store, it makes all kinds of sense. But
Yep.
to try to
And
force
just
it
to
on
prove that I'm into solar, right here's my solar charger.
there you
I
go.
mean, my charge controller. Let's see which way I gotta go. Right there. Yep.
There you have it.
I'm into solar. I got all kinds of good deals on solar if anybody's interested. I can get you a pallet of solar panels, 240 watt solar panels, 20 of them for $850.
Ooh, that ain't bad.
Nope. So I just bought a 300 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery for I think it was $949.
Uh-oh. You're in trouble. Tell your wife she's in trouble. Icy Prophet says, hey, some of us millennials are working 70 plus hours a week. Yes, obviously, general statements it doesn't apply to everybody. We're just saying.
Right.
And Ice Prophet, I'm sure you see it too. You probably have friends that probably don't. I mean, I know some millennials that work every bit as harder than me. People work generally pretty hard around here. It's a farming community, man. People
My
bust
two
ass,
kids,
young
they
and
work
old.
their asses off. They've worked since they've gotten out of high school and they bust their butts and they're raising families. But they're the exception, not the rule.
I know 50-year-olds that won't freaking work. So
that's true.
I guess it's a generalization. I think everybody kind of knows.
It's all how you're raised.
There's never all of one thing or another. Well, okay, yeah. Sheena says, and this sparks something else in my mind. The crazy part also, they charge you to drive electric cars because you're not by gas. So what would the price be for driving an electric truck? It's stupid. So that's something that nobody has talked about. So you take gasoline off the road, largely. You take diesel largely off the road. Uncle Sam gonna want his tax money. There will probably be tax at the charging station, but it's probably going to be tax incentivized to get people to electric.
They'll go by the mile. They'll start taxing by the mile.
Exactly. Yes, this is a whole unintended consequence. This is where I was coming around to. You are going to pay more in tax than you were now, and the roads still are not going to get fixed.
Just look at the state of Oregon.
Yes.
I mean, it's 29 cents a mile just to run in that state.
Yep.
On your IFTA.
There is going to be a lot of unintended consequences that people are never going to think about, and they're not going to like it till it comes to be. Then they're going to be like, "Huh, I never thought of that." Hey, thinking about it now. When you can't drive, Yeah. Yeah. When you write that check every once a month or the quarter to the government for your whatever they'll call it, a distance tax or a mileage tax, be like, huh, I should have thought of that. But people would be upset about income taxes too if you had to pay it, every week. If instead of coming out of your check, you had to stroke a check every Friday,
Yep.
we'd have a revolution in this country. I guarantee you.
Or go stand at the tax man's window and have to give him that cash.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Uh-oh. Oh, you got people all kinds of in their feelings about the people not working. I'm just teasing you. Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
Reality's reality. I mean, going to these places, they can't get workers. So what is it? People not wanting to work.
It's hard to find anybody to work. I ain't gonna lie, especially a manual labor job.
Right. Well, the wages just aren't keeping in pace with the economy. You got to pay them to make a living.
You could even make the case that, especially manual labor. It's hard to find people to do manual labor. And it is. I made the case at I did the live stream today from the tractor show of, young people need to see this. The difference between riding around in an air conditioned tractor with Wi-Fi and a CD player and surround sound versus, driving an open station 1945 Minneapolis Moline. You were doing the same job and it was dusty, it was dirty. You'd wreck your back, and even before that,
I
steam
spent a
engines and horses.
lot of hours. I spent a lot of hours on a TD15 pulling a 21-foot disc out there with no top of the cab either. It was an umbrella on top of it, keeping
you get
you
sunstroke. Yeah, my brother got sunstroke so bad one time.
Yeah.
No, it's we got to keep that. People have to know history. If we don't know history, we're gonna just keep doing it over and over again. And it also gives appreciation for what you have now.
You know what, though? I loved every minute of it. If I could go back to my younger years and do it all over, I'd do it again because I had fun doing it.
I didn't like picking rocks. I ain't going to lie to you. I'd take baling hay over picking rocks any day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I worked out on the rice farm. I worked out on the rice farms in Northern California, so you didn't have to pick rocks, but there was a lot of garbage job. One year I got put on during harvest time. I got put on building sickles for the harvesters. That was my duty the whole harvest season. Man, I'll never do that job again. I took home a lot of cuts on that job.
There you go. Jackknife TV says, so can I get a broker for theft of services? I like that. It's hard to tell because trucking is obviously we're exempt from, what do you call it, fair labor laws, overtime. We're exempt from a whole lot of different things. I think you probably wouldn't have a case because they make them brokers get a bond. But I do like the concept there. You might get a problem is collect. You can sue anybody for anything but collect. Most of them probably have no assets.
You win in court and then they just go file bankruptcy and there you are.
Yeah. Oh, Jerome Jones was late. He says, but some of us have to work. Oh man, big money, Jerome Jones. That's all right. You can be late. You're a channel member. You get an exception for that. DPG says, next thing we'll get tickets right to the truck. Maybe. Yeah. It'll be kind of like that open road tolling, right? So how long before that concept is applied to what? Speeding, lane changes, tailgating. It's if you have that device in your truck for like Oregon does, Progressive and stuff, trying to give you a discount if you let them put that thing in your vehicle, and then you can pay insurance by the mile. Remember that? They just came out with that. It's a tracking. They're going to know everything you do. If you have proximity devices all over the place, which we already freaking have with cell towers and every sensor over the road everywhere, you know everything you do.
I got mine with State Farm. Both of my vehicles have that, but it's we get a hell of a discount to put them in there because we don't put any miles on our vehicles because we're gone all the time. So our insurance is very, very low, because of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Abdi says the battery pack on those trucks weighs 50,000 alone now. The technology just isn't there. No, that's not true.
That ain't true.
No, them batteries, they got that stuff figured out, man. I
That's
saw
right.
a fully electric Mack garbage truck at that innovation show I went to. That thing was a monster. And they ran hydraulics. That thing could go out and do a whole garbage route, run hydraulics and everything on one charge. But that battery on there was a monster.
That lithium iron phosphate, man, that's the bee's knees. I'm telling you what, that technology is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, they say it's environmentally friendly until you got to dispose of those batteries, man. Nobody wants to talk about that. Those batteries don't last forever. And then what do you do with them?
Well, they last 25 years.
Oh, do they now?
Yeah. 25 years, and you get like 8,000 cycles out of them.
That's not so bad then. They've come a long way with that.
Flooded lead acid, what, you get 800 cycles and they last 3-4 years?
Yeah. Batteries they're just not what they used to be. They're just not.
Yeah, I watch this guy on YouTube. His name's Will Prowse. He's the foremost expert on YouTube about solar and batteries and all that stuff. And he's amazing. And everything I know, I've learned from his videos. And yeah, he charges his Tesla solely on his solar system. He lives in Vegas, and he has one of his power systems on his house, runs his whole house on solar, charges his Tesla on solar, and he's always doing these experiments on YouTube. And these guys try to get him to take these batteries and give them a good review, and this and that. He'll rip them apart and take them apart piece by piece on video and show you how they work and if they're good, what's good about them and bad about them. And yeah, he's amazing.
Right. Interesting. DPG says to open new ways to get controlled. Yeah, absolutely. That's always an unintended consequence. Rimlatube says, who's going to chain up autonomous trucks 6 times a day in the middle of a snowstorm when you can barely see the road? Nobody.
Yeah, we'll have auto trains.
Yeah, there you go. Will they make the judgment that I shouldn't be on the road in the first place? Right? It's a whole lot of, safety things.
Yeah, and I can see these big autonomous trucks running over families of 5 and stuff like that. It's not going to work.
Yeah, but they'll just get what do you call it? Immunity from prosecution.
Yeah, qualified immunity.
If they want it to work, they'll just say, "Oh, you can't sue them." Jerome Jones says, "Would love to work on how to butcher a pig or a cow and possibly work on some farm." Hey, they're good skills to learn. If you got the stomach for it. Yeah. Man vs. Road says they're finally fixing and installing new pumps in Eagleville, Missouri. Store and restaurant remodel. Expected downtime 3 to 4 months. Wow. They're spending some money on that old girl.
Which will turn into 6 or 8 with construction delays and material shortages.
Yeah. Redesign. Have to redesign it 3 or 4 times because they can't get certain materials and whatnot.
Yeah, Grease Garcia has it right. China has all the lithium. Yeah, we were talking about that. In addition, your precious metals that go into, obviously.
See, that was the bad thing about us getting out of Afghanistan. Afghanistan has a lot of lithium as well.
Okay.
And if we'd have played our cards right, we could have had, access to all that lithium. The United States could have if we'd have played our cards right and not be the bully, try to be the friend, But that's not our way, I guess.
There's a whole lot of precious metals we don't have access to either. Tolga says, battery producing process is important, but most important part is how we produce the electricity. Using the fossil fuels for electricity can't solve the problem for sure. Can't. Well, there's a whole lot of problems there, and part of it is they don't allow us to build power plants anymore, just like refineries. I mean, there's very few to be built. So, and then how much can we transmit on the current infrastructure? If you're charging in and plugging in a nation full of electric vehicles every night to charge them, that's a significant draw on the
It's going to be
power infrastructure.
mandatory. Everybody go to solar. I guarantee it's going to be mandatory. They're going to start building the roofs of every car and the hoods and the trunks.
Better have a hell of a lot of solar panels. I mean,
Well, it don't take that much. I mean, you look at a bifacial solar panel. I mean, you're going to put out 500 watts with just one solar panel, and it's what, 80 inches by 45 inches?
Yeah, but not not every place is got the solar aspect for it year round. Really,
That's true. That's true.
The farther north you go,
Yeah.
yeah, there's problems with everything. That's why we ought to be doing a little bit of everything instead of all one of anything. But DJ Avs TV says, love to know your guys' thoughts. Is it worth it to become an owner-operator now or stay a company driver? I have 17 years experience as a company driver, and they don't want to give me a raise. You won't necessarily get a raise being an owner-operator. You're also taking on a lot of risk. You could end up worse off. You get in a truck and everything's great, and then all of a sudden you got a motor go down, you got a transmission go down, your rear ends go down. And warranty doesn't necessarily mean you'll be saved either. You take a truck in the shop for warranty, it could sit there for 6 weeks, or you're missing the right part. It could be 6 months.
Yeah.
And then what? Good luck with your warranty. So I'm just saying, think about what your strategy is. Is it something you want to do because you just want to be an owner operator? You're looking to do it for a long time, or is it just for the money? Because it isn't necessarily more money. It can be more money.
I do it for the freedom. That's why I do. I don't do it for the money. I do it for the freedom.
There's a lot of reasons to do it, and all of them are valid. But if it's only for the money, I'd say don't do it, because there's some really good paying company jobs right now. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, if the company you're at doesn't want to kick you up, there's plenty of companies that are here.
Plus, don't forget about health insurance. That's a biggie also. Oh, Circus Boy is going to be upset with me about that one. He doesn't like the health insurance thing. But
it wasn't too long ago where these companies, they were paying 100% of the driver's insurance, and the family's insurance was a very low rate. Now you got to pay everything, and they don't pay anything in the insurance.
I've seen a few companies that still do pay everything, or they'll pay 100% of yours, and then you got to kick in for the families or whatever. But there's a few out there. I don't know how good the insurance is. No idea.
Right.
Yeah, Old School New School says it'll be like the reactor scene in Christmas Vacation. Yeah. Can we get some of that lubricant to put on our sled? Put that on your drive tires. It'll get really good fuel economy. 12 Kicks says, great. I was really thinking positive about these electric trucks, but now I'm doubtful. I don't think, left to their own devices, they would probably make some really good electric vehicles. But that pesky government keeps getting in the way and doing stupid things. But it'll work itself out over time. I'd just like to see them give it time to work itself out instead of pushing a rapid agenda that, like, look at this emissions thing, right? If they would have done this over more years instead of saying, what was it, in 2003, all of a sudden all trucks, and they didn't give them a lot of time. What was it, a year and a half or 2 years when they came up with that standard? Said as of 2003, all engines have to meet this standard. So they went to EGR.
It started with the EGR.
Yeah, and then DPF,
went to DPF, and then DEF,
DEF. That, especially that first round of engines. I mean, you could take a Series 60 from 7.5 miles a gallon down to 5, and not a damn thing you could do about it just by putting EGR on it. Give them time to work it out. Let them come up with a better solution, and they could have probably worked it out. But that's what they came up with.
I had a 2003 that had an experimental motor in it. It was the first 14-liter with EGR,
Oh,
We drove it at 58 mile an hour all the time, and the best we could get out of it was 5.8 to 6. And
yeah,
that
I
was
had
the
one of those.
best.
Yeah, there wasn't a damn thing you could do to it to really improve the fuel economy. It was 5.5, 6 all day, every day. No matter what you did. Drive slower, didn't matter.
Right.
Uh,
They gotten pretty good now, though, as far as mileage goes. I mean, the Cascadia, the Evolution, when they came out with that Evolution, man, that jumped like 2-3 miles a gallon
yeah.
automatically.
Gabriel Rojas says, think don't think trucks will drive by themselves. U.S. prosecutor needs a person to prosecute after an accident. I don't think many people will let a machine put you in jail. They're already on the road, sir. They're already doing it. There's already autonomous trucks on the road down in the south. They run certain routes. There's not a ton of them. There's getting to be more and more all the time. And some
I
of
was
them
reading an
still have.
article that brokers are only booking autonomous trucks
Yeah.
for certain loads.
So put that information back to, I don't know, a half hour ago when said that owner ops will always rule this industry and will always be here. Hey, that's a thing right there that is out of your control. No,
Hey, but
like I said,
what keeps us from buying them trucks and running our fleet of those trucks?
uh,
Everybody thinks, oh, it's a bad thing. They're going to push us out. Well, I'll just trade my, dump truck in for one of them autonomous trucks, and I'll sit on my laptop and tell it where to go and what load to pick up.
yeah, a lot of folks can't think that far ahead or think that outside the box. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. Provided we can afford it. Does anybody have any solid information on what one of those things costs? A fully autonomous truck. I know that a lot of them they're on the road and moving, but they still have drivers in them. But it won't be long before they don't. They're just learning. They're
Well, dump
learning.
trucks now are what, $230,000? I can just imagine what one of them trucks are going to be.
Notice how they have all the chips they need for them when we couldn't get chips the last 2 years for our trucks, but they had all
Yep.
the chips they needed for those things. It just goes to show you they put the resources where they want things to go, and we will not be consulted. Government only gets in the way because the oil companies and lobbyists are running interference. Everything has a reason. Follow the money. Yeah. There's going to be interference everywhere. It's bigger than oil companies. Shoot, every company from every industry, is going to get their paws in whatever. But I know we're only talking about trucking. But
Pretty soon they're going to have smart factories where they don't need factory workers.
oh, you already got. I have. Have you either one of you guys ever been to a warehouse where you were loaded by a robot?
Oh yeah, doesn't Amazon have that?
I don't know about Amazon, but I've loaded at some water places where I was loaded by a robot, and I tell you what, you could barely tell you were being loaded. None of this running the trailer at 30 miles an hour and slam on the brakes, go through the bulkhead. No issues. Haven't had a trailer damaged, but
I load a load of water out of Brigham City, and they say when you go in there, I think they do the same thing because they say when you go in there, you got to have everything out of your trailer, no straps, no load locks or nothing. So I think that they load with
the robot won't go in there.
Well.
Yeah, there's a foundry not far from me that their entire warehouse is wire guided forklifts. There's not a manned forklift in that place, and they got racks that go. You can look up and they're, I don't know how many layers high, and it's all steel cast products. The entire warehouse is wire guided forklifts. Production is not.
Yeah, the Simplot Foods over here in Caldwell has laser guided forklifts in their warehouse.
Yeah,
I used to load a lot out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And 5G, was a big step towards autonomy. Also, having the 5G networks, that's what they needed. That was a big piece of the puzzle. It sucks for
Yeah, I was gonna say for phone it sucks, but
yes, it does. Yeah, but for transmitting information, I guess it works really well. I think they still probably have a lot of spots that they need to improve though with those networks. And that's just what I've read. I don't have any technical knowledge of that, but just taking their word for it. But well, guys,
Well,
I think I'm. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Well, how was the
No.
tractor show?
It was fun. The weather was crappy, but now the sun's coming out again. It dried up, and I think I'm gonna go back. They got
Oh, nice.
the tractor pull should be starting here in about a half hour. That's always fun. And then they'll have the pickup truck pulls, and there's an adult refreshments tent. We might have to hit that. And then
Nice.
tomorrow, I did the parade today. It was just me and another guy. It looked pretty goofy, probably. But yeah. And tomorrow, there's a sawmill. Yeah, sawmill and a threshing. I don't know, competition or show or whatever. Probably catch that. And then
You
tomorrow
got
we'll
any
start
steam tractors out there?
Oh yeah, they got a great big one. I talked to the guy. He wasn't in any mood to talk. I think he was having problems with his steam engine. But a couple of years ago, there was a panic. He almost ran out of water. And you don't run one of those things out of water; it'll turn into a big bomb.
Big boom, boom.
Yeah. So, but now they got a reserve tank on there also. So they had a reserve tank. I think they just put a bigger one on there. But yeah, she's a pretty good sized steam engine. But
Yeah, I've been to a few tractor shows in my day.
yeah, it's fun. That's my kind of stuff. I'm not I don't know. I don't need too many fancy things.
I used to run a lot of dozer and crane and stuff like that. So I like machinery.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys for coming in. We're going to go have some dinner and watch some tractor pulls.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you guys for coming in. We'll do it again.
Thanks for letting me in.
Cool. Peace out,
Talk
everybody.
to you later. Yeah, bye. Ah, dang it. Now I got to wait 2 more. What do you want?
I just thought I'd stop in and say hi right as you were getting ready to air off.
Oh, I was going to go have fun, and now this.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up?
No,
Mac and cheese trucking
what's going on
today?
Why aren't you working?
I'm already done. I got this new gig. I drive like 6 hours a day and then shut her down.
How about that?
Kind of like it. So,
all right. Well, you're going to go live now. I'll tell 100 people to go watch your live stream if you want to go live right now.
I got hockey coming up.
Well, they can watch you watch hockey. How about that?
Yeah, right.
Isn't that what your channel is all about? Hey, watch me watch TV.
That's what we do most of
A little
the time.
bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
How come you're the only one in here without a Cash is King t-shirt? I'm just wondering.
I got one. I don't have it on.
You never wear it, do you?
I wear it all the time. What are you talking about?
Some kind of friend.
All right, I'm out.
See ya.
Later.
Take it easy, guys. We'll catch you later. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. We'll do it again.